What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my search for the greatest covers album in the history of music. Is never going to end. We're on album 2 in this deep dive, the Deep Purple covers album, Turning to Crime, which they dropped about 3 years ago, 2021. This was the last album with Steve Morse before he left the following year. I think he had personal issues that were going on. I don't think it was animosity. I'm not a fan of this album. Like, I'm not a fan of covers albums to begin with, which is why I'm doing this deep dive to try to find good ones. And yeah, I just not a real big fan of this one. Some interesting song choices. I'm gonna give him props for that. I think the playing is decent. You get a lot of Lorde on piano. He's kind of flexing his early rock piano vibes. You can see it in the song selections, some quirky songs. I think the most recent thing on here is, at least as far as like the age of the songs they're covering, is Little Feat's Dixie Chicken. Give them props for covering that. Not a very good version. This band's not funky. It feels like vocally the performance that Gillian's given on this is at karaoke, and he's never heard the song before, and he's trying to figure out the groove. Like the Dixie Chicken, I don't know, something's off with it. I mean, I think of that song, and I'm just like, I want to sink down low. It's almost like a lowrider funk song. You're like, doom, 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 doom. This is not that. Like, their funk bona fides are not on any display here at Deep Purple. One fantastic song choice, fantastic performance. The combination of the two. There's a lot of strong performances, at least as far as like when we get to like the solos and the breakdowns. But the one in which the two come together is the opening track, a cover of Love's 7 and 7 is. 7 and 7 is. I think that is their most popular song, so they took an obvious love song, but picking a love song I think is pretty awesome. Opening the album with it is pretty awesome. This performance is pretty awesome. The solos are pretty awesome. Like 2.5 minutes of like cover perfection to open the album. But then after that, the second song is the cover of Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. And we're immediately in this completely different vibe. We're in this like 50 piano, Jerry Lee Lewis type, woo-doo-doo-doo type thing. And it's what they're going for. I think they're wearing their influences on their sleeves, but I don't know if these are their influences of any Deep Purple I've listened to, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird vibe. Awesome opening track, and then they follow up with something that just undermines, I think, the sort of potential to be super interesting that the opening 7 and 7 is. And then Rockin' Pneumonia kind of immediately pulls the rug under that. I'm like, okay, it's going to be this kind of covers album. Bunch of songs that if I were to see them live, maybe they could drop in like the encores and it would be fun and everybody would have a rollicking good time. But it's not something I want to sit down and listen to on an album, which is why I don't like covers albums. And I knew this one wasn't going to be very good because I checked it out when it came out, but I thought I'd get it out of the way. So anyways, we open up with 7 and 7 is. Home run. Awesome. Not here for Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. If you like that song and that's your groove, then maybe you'll enjoy this. I don't need to hear it. Cover of Fleetwood Mac's Oh Well. Morse uses like an acoustic guitar in the beginning to kind of mimic the original sound of the original Fleetwood Mac version. I wish they had gone full electric with this, like full, like lazy, like sleek it out, slim it down, just dig into that guitar riff. I saw Tom Petty do this song. Plus he released a live version of it, I think it's on Anthology. His awesome like multi-disc live set. I think that's a better version than this. I think the version that Fleetwood Mac did live on their live album is better than this, even though it wasn't Peter Green, it was, Lindsey Buckingham. I think I've seen another band do this live and I thought was pretty good. I don't know. I like the fact that they do the coda at the end, that sort of Oh Well Part 2. They do a little bit of that. It's buried in Part 1 and then it goes on to Part 2. I like that they add the coda here. That's pretty good. So that's a cool decision. But this was a chance to really get kind of gritty and hard rocking and dirty. And I think they missed the opportunity here. So while I'm going to like give them points, like I'm scoring these, by the way, every song I like gets 1 point, and then I'll add additional points for song selection or performance, or so there'll be a percentage at the end. Really simple and undercomplicated, and will probably have skewed results, but it means you can score over 100%. But anyways, like I'm giving Oh Well points for being good, but I'm taking it away for like missing an opportunity. I think this could have been like a barn burner. Instead, it's just interesting. A cover of Mitch Ryder's Jenny Take a Ride, which again, like your like Detroit rock type sound. Not my thing. Watching the River Flow by Bob Dylan. Point for the song selection, but the performance just kind of robs everything that's kind of cool about the song. Another one where it seems like, has Ian even heard the song? Like, is he just like, how many times he doesn't seem really familiar with like the groove and the cadence, and maybe he's trying to do something different, but that different thing isn't working for me. And it just comes across as kind of just bland. And I think watching the River Flow, there's potential for some greatness here. So you get props for picking a good song, but you lose it for kind of underwhelming me with the performance. A cover of Louis Jordan's Let the Good Times Roll. This is not the Dead song. This is not Sam Cooke. It's not that Let the Good Times Roll. This is like a jump blues horn. We've got horn section on here. I think it's kind of an interesting selection. It's just not my vibe. The performance is pretty good. Great organ solo in here. The overall vibe is kind of loose and kind of good. Interesting song choice. Give this one. This one goes in the plus category. Nowhere near as good as impactful as 7 and 7 is, but an interesting choice. Next we get Dixie Chicken, which just does not work for me. Like, it's not funky. We're not in the pocket. We're not like doom. It's almost like we're like trying to catch up to the groove, and I don't think Ian's heard the song before. It just seems like he doesn't know what the narrative is, what to lay into. I don't know. Just kind of doesn't work for me. Cover of the Yardbirds, Shapes of Things. Really nice slide guitar solo in the middle of this. I think it's I think it's a slide solo. That was pretty good, but overall, it's just kind of a cover. A lot of this stuff sounds a little too modern for me. Like there's lacking an edge in the production or a rawness. Like I wish they had it doesn't sound like they just went into the studio one afternoon and covered a bunch of songs. That would have been really cool. Like jam out. I think maybe the vibe would help the songs. So Shapes of Things, there's really nothing wrong with it. Solo is pretty good, but I can't say I'm dying to go back and listen to it again. And then the Battle of New Orleans. Just, I don't know why they cover this. It's just kind of hokey. It's kind of silly. I can only think of, I used to listen to Dr. Ameno a lot when I was a kid, and there was a song called The Battle of Cucamonga, which took the Battle of New Orleans, which I think is about a real battle, and made it about like this summer camp, Girl Scouts, girls versus boys type thing. It's just it's cheesy and hokey, and it's a weird cover, and it just no. Cover of Bob Seger's Lucifer. Was not familiar with this. I had to seek this one out. Early like a 1970 Bob Seger track. Bob Seger's vocals sound better. The Bob Seger version has a little more of that Detroit rock sound in a good way. Mad props for the song selection. I love this. It's not turn the page. But the performance, it made me want to go back and made me happy I discovered the Bob Seger version. So it gets points. Yeah, you turn me on to a new song. Early Bob Seger's kind of interesting. I like this song. Glad they did it. I just think the Seger version is better. And I think Segel's vocals are better. I think the performance has more of that authentic Detroit rock feel from the early 70s. Yeah, so good on you for covering this, Deep Purple. Mad props for that. Cover of Cream's White Room. You drop this live, that's cool. Drop it in the middle of a set, that's cool. Great song. Don't need to hear Deep Purple doing it. It makes me want to go back, and I think Clapton's solo on almost any version is just far more blistering and interesting than what Morse is trying to do. Morse is a great guitar player, but this isn't him. I don't know. There's something, maybe live he tears it up in a different way, but kind of leaves me. And then the final song is five songs actually, but it's a weird medley because they'll play like a snippet of each of these five songs and then just kind of abruptly shift gears and go into the next one. It's not like this organic jam thing where, oh, look, we started off in Green Onions and now we're playing Hot Lana by Allman Brothers. But there's just like, let's do like a minute of Green Onions and do right into Hot Lana, then do right into Dazed and Confused. So potential is great, but it's, I don't know. It's frustrating. But the five songs they play over the course of like 8 minutes, Don Nix is Going Down. You probably heard a bunch of people cover it. Then they go into Green Onions, Hot Lana, which is pretty good. Props for picking that song. A really nice jammed out Dazed and Confused. I don't think they sing it at all. They just kind of jam out the down, that's stepping down the fretboard kind of riff, some kind of good play in there, and then they finish up with some Gimme Some Lovin'. Which live, this would have been a fun thing to see live. I just don't need to listen to a studio version of it. But interesting that they managed to squeeze in all these songs at the end, so we'll give them props for that. But yeah, I will never listen to this again. I'm not a big fan of cover albums. I didn't think this was very intriguing. I think the best thing on here by far is the opening track, 7 and 7 is fantastic. So it gets 1 point for a fantastic track. I'm going to give it 2 extra points for song selection and performance, even though sometimes the performance of that song selected is disappointing and I want to take away the point I gave it for picking that song. But I'm going to give it a 2 points, which means there's 12 tracks. It gets 3 points. That's a 25% success, which seems a little generous, being that I really only like one song. But the band, I mean, it's still Deep Purple. They can play. You know, the musicians are good. And who is on here? I don't even know that. So Ian, Morse, Glover, Pace, and then Aries on keyboards. So, but yeah, that's it. How would I rank this? I've done 2 others. That's what it looks like. It's in last place. I actually like that Styx covers album better than I like this. It's just a little more successful percentage-wise. I just think Deep Purple picked the wrong songs. A lot of these, I'm just like, I don't want this old school 50s. This is not what you've ever sounded like. Why are you, like if Bruce Springsteen this sounds like a Bruce Springsteen cover album. Yeah, a whole bunch of like Detroit rock type sounds. That sounds like a Bruce Springsteen encore. Deep Purple, it's weird choices. But yeah, all right. Those are my thoughts on this album. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know why I'm wrong. Let me know why I'm right. Let me know anything I messed up on. All that kind of stuff. But yeah, my takeaway, Love is still underrated and more people need to check the band check out the band Love. And Bob Seger's early stuff. There might be some more deep cuts there I need to find out. I'm pretty familiar with Seger's like mid to late 70s period. That was my youth. I haven't gone back to that really, really early stuff. I may have to do some little more digging on Seger. So I like that Lucifer track. But anyways, yeah. All right. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. And again, if you have a covers album you want me to check out, I'm going to check out all of them. All of them. Drop it in the comments. Peace. Talk to you later.